Soon as I turn the fucking recorder on, literally. Oh shit. Here we go again. Yeah. Got another video. Because you're listening to it right now. But it's funny how quickly you fall back into old habits. It's exactly what happened with me making videos. The 3-hour video, knocked that shit out like it was nothing. Like I was bored to do this shit. Oh boy, here he comes again. Probably the same moron. Why? Did your parents didn't give you enough attention? Is that what it is? Anyway. Yeah, I'm a natural at this shit, man. It comes so easy to me. That's what a lot of people don't understand. There's a few things I'm not. Well, not a few things. There's a lot of things I'm not a natural at. Some things I am. Making content, I think, is one of them. But anyways, I got a few notes here of shit I wanted to talk about. It is New Year. You know, I went to watch the New Year celebration in New York City. For whatever reason, I always do. I don't know what compels me to do it, but I think it just became a habit. Every year I get a little bit closer to seeing the actual ball drop. I don't like saying that because I've talked about that before. But it's funny, they literally cut to two dudes kissing right away on the broadcast. And then it was after the two dudes, there was a black guy and a white girl kissing. What is this abomination? Nah, I don't care. I don't care about the black dude and the white girl, cause whatever. It's kind of like a white guy and an Asian girl. It's a natural match for various reasons. And it's so funny because I was kind of standing. I just wanted a straight shot. I didn't care how far back I was. I just wanted a straight view down into the main tower where you could see the ball drop, you could see the countdown and all that. And I pretty much got that. There was some scaffolding sort of blocking my view a little bit, but I pretty much saw everything. And it was funny, man, because like I was at one of those access points where it's so fucked up. And I was telling my guy about this. It's like, yo, I saw a sodomite after a sodomite. They were just letting them in, you know, because it's one of those things where you have to have tickets for some event or whatever, and they just and a lot of them were just being so obnoxious, like, oh, there's too many people, like they're just acting like faggots, basically. And I was just making jokes, like I was like, oh, you're a first class citizen. Like I was saying all sorts of shit. I would have said more, but I don't know. Like they were kind of letting normal people in there too, so. I saw so many sodomites, man, getting in there, and it was just blowing my mind. I'm not even gonna lie to you. You know, let me plug this fucking shit out. So I know how loud that is. But yeah, it was really upsetting to see. But hey, it is what it is. It's the world we live in, right? And then you got all these cops. You know these cops are conservative. You know, Irish dudes and shit. And they're having to abide by all this crap. There's a lot of female cops lately in New York, I noticed. You know, and they're not doing shit. I almost told one of the female cops to shut the fuck up. I'm not gonna lie to you. But again, I can't get in too much trouble. Like, so I try to keep it calm. At one point, I had to burst through the crowd because I really got jammed in. And this black woman, there's always some black woman, right? And she's like, "You better not fall on my baby." It's like, why the fuck you? Why are people bringing their kids into this shit? I don't even. That was the same thing with the other black woman that was threatening to slap the shit out of me. And of course her black cuck boyfriend was like, "Oh, don't worry, so somebody always got something to say." And he was pushing the stroller. What a fucking cuck. Oh my gosh. She's like, "You better not fall on my baby." I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna fall on your baby." And I was like, "Sorry." And I just kept walking. I was in a good mood. I'm still in a good mood. Strangely, I'm not sure why, but I threw up. I threw up a bunch of times. I was pissing, because I was drinking. I was pre-gaming. As an alcoholic, I'm like, you know what? Let me drink too much. I have to drink too much first, so I don't keep drinking. So I drank too much, and I was just blasting music, just listening to Spotify and all that shit. And then I went out, and then I'm like, damn, I actually drank too much, and I have an empty stomach. So I went into this restaurant, and I threw up a bunch of times. It was clear, it was a nice throw up. It was nice and clear, just liquid, no solids. And I was like, all right, I think I'm good. Took a piss. And I was like, I didn't have to use the bathroom until I got back home, which was many hours later. Because the thing is, you're really jammed in. You gotta go mad early if you want to see the shit up close. But it was cool, it was nice. It was nice to see, I don't know, maybe I'm getting soft in my old age, but it was nice to see people just enjoying themselves. And, there was a lot of Japanese people for some reason. I have no idea why. It sound like anime characters and shit. I'm like, oh my god, is that Sasuke? Is that Sasuke-kun? It's like, I'm hearing all these anime voices that I've heard from anime. I'm like, oh my god. I only know a few Japanese phrases. I was going to use a few of them. But yeah, the Japanese women were looking good. I'm not going to lie to you. I think one of them was trying to because women are kind of weird on days like this, but on days like that. But yeah, it was interesting. Of course, the white people. And I was joking about this with my friend of mine. I was like, yeah, of course, the white people had to ask him to take a picture because you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong asking an Asian person to take a picture because they take this shit like a fucking professional. It's like you would think a professional photographer took the damn photo. Everybody knows that that's a thing. And they do it happily too. They're like, yeah, of course. Yeah, yes, of course. I take picture for you. Yes, yeah. I take the picture for you. And then they put the samurai sword away. Hold on, let me put this away. So I can take the picture for you. Make sure it's a good picture. Make sure it's a good picture. Shikata go nai. Jeez, I didn't even get to the video. I got a whole script here. Well, not a script. It's not a script. It's more like notes. I got some notes here. Some really fucked up notes. I didn't even get into that yet. I'm literally just talking. Oh man. This is some funny shit. I'm just trying to have fun, man. I'm fucking bored. I'm trying to keep myself entertained. You know how it is. Shout out to the guy who emailed me. Appreciate it, man. I know you've been watching my videos for a long time. I remember you. People don't think I remember them a lot of times, but I remember you. I appreciate the support. So yeah. I haven't even looked at these notes yet. Alright, let me see what I got here. It's not that many notes. We already did 10 minutes. Okay, yeah. It's gonna be very scrambled. So, but basically, I kind of wanted to talk about. Yeah, I kind of talked about it already, but I can't. It lives rent free. Like, it lives rent free in my head. How most guys can't seem to contemplate or fathom white woman privilege. Like, they don't get it. They don't get it, and I'm gonna get into that more a little bit later. But yeah, a lot of guys, they just, it's like, bro, the ugliest white woman in the world has more privilege in her pinky toe than you will ever experience in your entire life. And it's sad. It's sad, but it's true. It's true. I'm sorry. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Oh man. Anyway, Happy New Year. Did I say Happy New Year? Yeah, I don't know if I did or not, but whatever. Happy Jew Year. Jew Year, New Year. Some people say it's not the New Year. Some people say, oh, the New Year is in March, because that's when the sun comes back. The New Year is in September, because I don't fucking know, okay? I really don't. All I know is that some Europeans or Romans or whatever decided with the Gregorian calendar or whatever that this is the New Year, so this is what we celebrate, I suppose. Rehab Room has been putting out some pretty good videos, and I hate to shout people out, but the only reason I shout him out is because I think he has such a great grasp on what the black pill actually is. You know, formerly known as Incel TV. And he doesn't get too much into what I call the philosophical black pill, but it's like, yeah, this guy, he knows his shit, man. He's one of the few that I can look at his content and I'm like, I'm consistently like, yeah, this guy gets it. You know. But anyways, you know, back to the white bitch having more, the ugliest white bitch in the universe having more privilege in her pinky toe than you'll ever see in your entire life. I've been around. I'm 33 years old, man. You know, 33 in Negro years is like 66 in everybody else years. Rest in peace to Patrice O'Neal. I stole that joke from him. It's like, now just imagine that she's actually attractive on top of that. It's like, wow. What kills me is that white girls will admit to this shit, but nobody else can. They themselves will admit to it, but nobody else can do it. If you're like me and you just sit there having a candid conversation with a Caucasian woman or presenting, she will admit that shit to your face. It's everyone else who chooses to be delusional. Women know how privileged they are. They just have to pretend like they're not in order to appease morons so that they can keep giving them money. And the funny thing is, they don't even especially seem to like being in that position of privilege because they know that it's insulating. It's like a bubble that traps you. Like the Chad bubble. I gotta talk about the Chad bubble. The white woman, there was a white chick who walked into a police station recently and she just started shooting. And she's alive. To my knowledge, she is alive. And I don't even think it was an attractive or young white girl. It was like some old post-ball white woman, wasn't it? It wasn't Scarlett Johansson. It wasn't Megan Fox or Taylor Swift. I think Taylor Swift is extremely overrated, personally. But it's like, see, this is why people don't like me, because I punch up. I don't punch down or across. And it's so funny, too, because you'd be surprised at the people who respect you for doing that, and the people who don't like you for doing that. You know, like all the people who you would think would respect you, those are the people that don't like you for speaking the truth about these sorts of matters. And all the people that you think would hate you, those are the ones that are actually like, yeah, you got a point. You're right. It's so crazy. Like, it's weird, man. It's fucking weird. But anyway. anyway, I mean, if you could probably hear that I'm drinking. Yeah. Damn. Let me turn my screen back on. Chlamydia. They like to play with fire. They like, because it's boring. Like I said, it's boring to be on top of the privilege hierarchy. And it takes true empathy to really understand that. Like, I get it. I get why they're bored. I'm bored. If I'm bored, then certainly the average white female has to be fucking bored out of her mind. And that's why you seek out stupid shit. That's why, I get it. Like, I totally get it. I just saw, there was a lot of people outside last night, so I was just kind of looking around. I saw these white chicks in a limo. I was just like, damn, I know they have cocaine in that fucking limo. I know they do. I wish I was in that fucking limo. But anyway, chlamydia. They like to brag about getting shit like that, because it's like, now, oh shit, I'm actually an interesting person now because I have chlamydia. You almost like to say the word. It's one of those words you like to say. Chlamydia. Sounds sophisticated. It's like, I'm the main character now. I did it for the plot. I did it for the plot, guys. But, yeah. People don't like the fact that I'm right about things. They don't like the package that the truth comes in. When Amazon sends you a package, you don't care what package it comes in. They'll send you a fucking pen. You could buy a pen on Amazon and they'll put it in a fucking big ass, 12 foot by 12 foot box. Fuck is wrong with these people? But anyway, the instinct is always to say that you're being a dick, or that your tone is wrong, or it's always like this fake moralistic argument. But they'll never say that you're incorrect. They'll never say that you're lying. It always boils down to, I don't like the way that thing that you said made me feel. But it's like, if Scarlett Johansson went on YouTube and said the exact same shit, people would be like, oh my god, she's so right. This black pill stuff makes so much sense. It's like, if you look at, I don't know how to say, Quoves or Dove's studio on YouTube, where they go into lookism. Because of the presentation, people will actually take it seriously. But it's like, it's the same exact shit that so-called incels have been saying for so long now. It's the same exact shit. It's just presented by people that would actually be considered valid, I guess, in the normie world. So, yeah, it's crazy. We live in a crazy, I don't want to say brave, but it's certainly a new world. Certainly a new world. Adam 22. Do I really want to talk about that again? Not really. I was just going to say that a lot of guys, they know that women ain't shit. They know that. So they actually embrace it. And they kind of lean into it. And they take advantage of it, of women not being shit. So I don't really want to talk more about that. I think I already kind of covered that in previous videos or whatever. that sort of thing. But yeah, if you're talking about cuckolding in like the real sense of the word, then few things get under my skin more than seeing a man raise a kid that's not actually his. It's one of the worst things to me. It's one of the worst things to me. To me, it's like if that happens to you, you have license to kill that bitch. Or even torture her. There's a reason that pretty much every culture looks down on that shit. You know, even the Italians have like they're supposed to have like a charm that they have, that they put around their neck to keep that from happening. Kind of like a superstitious sort of thing, I guess. But anyway, I guess we could talk about everybody's favorite subject, which is black people. And I've been thinking a lot about this recently because my dickhead friend we're always having debates about black people and about the so-called black struggle. And he tells me I'm too negative, which I think that's bullshit. But I figured, you know what, I'm going to take that. I'm going to accept that criticism. And I'm going to try to be better. You know? I'm going to try to be positive. Especially since it's the New Year's, right? So I was just thinking, and I kind of broached a conversation about this. I was just like, you know what? If we're talking about black people, Nigerians are very powerful. Nigerians are doing quite well for themselves globally. They're in the upper echelon of economically, as far as the various nations of the world go, seems to me. I mean, it's America and then China and then everybody else. But in terms of like the top economies, because there's the amount of countries in the world is like in the hundreds. Nigeria's in like the top 30 economically. As far as African countries go, doing pretty good. And that's to say nothing about the Nigerians who immigrate to other countries. So I'm thinking in positive terms. I'm like, Nigerians, okay. I met a lot of in the past couple of years. I met a lot of girls from Africa. Okay, a lot of girls from Africa. I would say at least 7. A lot of them are immigrating and so on. Some people would say, it's because they're trying to disenfranchise the native black Americans and the black people who are already here and things like that. Which I guess I can see that. They're saying, the Mexicans and so on. I can see that. I'm not going to lie to you. I can actually see that being a real thing that they're trying to do. But that's not what I'm trying to talk about right now. I just kept asking myself, why are Nigerians doing so well? Because these niggas are as black as anybody. A lot of them are even darker than the average black American. Black in America. Or whatever. So I was just thinking to myself, okay, why? And I just kind of went back to the 2 Nigerian girls that I met. And one of them, I catfished one of them, and she was like, poor. According to her, she came from a poor background, and they came to the United States. One of them said she was from a poor background, and guess what? She's studying to become a doctor. I think it was a doctor or a dentist. So it was definitely one of the two. And I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. And she didn't like me. She did not like me. You know when somebody doesn't like you. But here's the thing. even though she didn't like me, and it was obvious, she was still very polite. She was still very nice. She was still smiling, smiling in my face and all. And she's still doing all that shit. And that's how I know, like, you're not from here. You're not actually from here. You actually have a dad. So I'm kind of piecing that together. And then the other girl from Nigeria, well, not from Nigeria, she's what I call a NAP, Nigerian American princess. So her parents immigrated. She was raised in America. Everybody in her family is very accomplished. Doctors. Everybody's a doctor. That's the thing with Nigerians. They're all doctors and all that shit. It's a stereotype, which is pretty much true. Her brother is like studying stem cells and, getting Nobel Peace Prizes and all this crazy shit. Very much of the upper echelon of society. And I remember her telling me that how the Nigerian family operates. And she's like, the mother and the father will take the son to a store. It was such a funny, weird sort of example. But he's like, yeah, the mother and the father will take their son to a store. And the mom will pick out a t-shirt and say, isn't this a nice t-shirt? And then the father will say, yeah, that's a nice t-shirt. And then the son will say, yes, that's a nice t-shirt. And then they'll buy the t-shirt and then leave. That's how she described the family dynamic. And I was just thinking to myself, you know what, that's funny. Because it's like collectivism. It's individuals. I talked about this, but it's like you're putting the collective above your own individual shit. And it's very similar to what the Asian people do. Because they do the same thing where it's like they come here and then everybody becomes a fucking doctor or mathematician or some shit like that, right? And it's ultimately about the collective. They very much have a collective mindset where it's like you're just a part of a whole. And there's even fiction. Some of the fiction kind of goes into that. Like, I want to say Crazy Rich Asians. I haven't seen a single episode of that show, but I want to say that goes into that. So I'm like, okay, interesting. And I was trying to tell my guy about this. And I'm like, okay. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more. But it's not... There's a reason Nigerians are winning so much. And it's largely because of shit like that, it seems to me. It doesn't seem like a complicated equation. People want things to be complicated. It's really not. And again, like I said, I'm going to get into that a little bit more on why and stuff like that. But yeah. And I met at least three black South African girls. So as far as I'm concerned, black South African women ain't shit. They are probably as close outside of like the Caribbean. They're probably about as close to westernized American females as you could possibly get. Maybe that has something to do with apartheid. I don't know. But them bitches ain't shit. As far as but even they were still relatively pleasant in their general demeanor and behavior. But those were the ones who were kind of like trying to be as westernized and as American as possible, and doing the same shit that the ancient bitch of America would be doing. Like this one of the black South African chicks that I met was like really, because I always kind of broach the topic just to kind of gauge where they stand. And she was one of those chicks that was really defending single motherhood like hard. And I'm like, oh, that's a fucking red flag. So I even met an Eritrean female, the place that Nipsey Hussle and Tiffany Haddish are from. I even met one of those from what they call it the Horn of Africa. And that was interesting. I've talked about her a lot, actually. I probably didn't specifically mention that that's who I was talking about. But again, very pleasant demeanor, very pleasant person to be around. And it's like that's the thing about a decent female is that even if she doesn't like you, she still has a certain level of decorum to where she's going to interact with you in a respectful manner, even if you're a black man, even if you are a lowly Negro. She's still going to treat, and I don't know, maybe when she gets on her Twitter account, when she gets behind the safety of her Twitter account, she'll start talking shit about you, but that is something I kind of didn't notice. And but this is why Jews laugh at people, because when you're an immature people, you're more concerned with people liking you than you are with people respecting you. That's one of the things I kind of agree with O'Shea Duke Jackson on, is that it does seem like people, especially black people, are a little bit too concerned about being liked rather than being respected. So it's like we're not a serious people. And at some point, going back to the Nigerians and why they're winning, even though they're black, just like other black people, it's like at some point you do have to reckon with the fact that these people are doing something that is better and different from what you're doing. Even though you might say, oh, they have certain advantages that we don't get, and so on and so forth. That might be true. But it's like, come on, how is it enough? Is it true enough to justify the total gap? I happen to think it's just I happen to think that. I'm not gonna say it's just because, but they have very, very strong families, and that's kind of something I wanted to talk about too with the Nigerians in particular. Is like their family structure is very strong. Like, and even the girl was telling me, like, oftentimes you can't really mess with a Nigerian girl. There might be exceptions. I'm sure there's probably exceptions or whatever, right? But she's like, yeah, you can't typically mess with a Nigerian girl unless marriage is on the table. It's like you gotta go through the proper channels of like working towards marriage, especially if you have a kid and things like that. So it's considered shameful, and that's something that, going back to my previous video, where it's like there's cultures, the cultures that are winning are generally the cultures, it seems to me, where it's considered shameful to have a child out of wedlock. And it seems like a lot of black people are too immature to the point where they don't want to confront that reality. But and like I said, this is why Jews laugh at you, because when you're an immature people, like Farrakhan said, this is a sick people. This is a sick people. But that's why I like Tommy Sotomayor, because he says that if you're playing for the Cleveland Browns or the Bad News Bears, does it not behoove you to look at what the other teams are doing that's got them constantly putting their foot up your ass every time you play against them? Shouldn't you look at that? But it's like, motherfuckers are so enamored with the fuck shit. They're so accustomed and comfortable within the fuck shit that they don't want to change. It's too hard. It's like, who said it that it's supposed to be easy? If it was easy, it'd be done by now. Then you got the passport bros and all this shit. I mean, It makes sense. Like I said, I'm more like on the SYSBM sort of vibe. Save yourself, black man. So I'm totally on board with the passport bros. Because it's like they rather, it's sad, but it's like they rather you actually be alone. They rather you just be alone and miserable in America, dealing with these crazy women who don't respect you, who don't like you, like all this shit. They rather you deal with that than go find happiness elsewhere. I've talked about that before. But yeah. I guess the good news is I'm not feeling especially suicidal lately. So I guess that's good. I'm not sure why. Occasionally you do have those moments that I talk about sometimes. Like a moment of zen, I guess you could say. You know. So yeah, positivity. I'm gonna try being positive. But I don't think that pointing out issues and how to solve them, especially as it pertains to black people, is a negative thing. People gotta separate negativity, because you could be constructive. Constructive criticism is constructive. You're still building. You know, it's like I said, if you play for the Bad News Bears or the Cleveland Browns or something, and you say, okay, we're not shooting enough 3-pointers, our perimeter defense is trash, or if it's, if it's like football or whatever, our inside defense is bad, whatever the case may be, it's constructive. It's constructive. How could that be? How could construction be anything but positive? So I don't get that. But it's like this isn't the NBA or the NFL. So tanking on purpose doesn't get you anywhere. Losing on purpose just so they can throw you a bone and give you like a first draft pick or whatever, that doesn't seem to really work too well, particularly for black people. So, and this is why a lot of so-called pro-blacks just give up, because it's kind of like the 10%ers. I talk about the 10%er thing, the 5% nation, the 10%ers and all that. I say all the time I already gave up on black folks, because it's like people don't listen. People don't listen. 2 plus 2 is 5 to black people. So it's like, I suppose the only reason to even talk about this shit at this point is just for sport, really. You know. So yeah. But yeah. Fucking New Year's. Sodomite after sodomite just gets to walk through past all the regular people. I was about to say something. See, this is why people don't like fags or something, you know. But like I said, I know they're looking for the first excuse to make a scene, and that's what happened too. They, because it's all about attention with these sorts of people. But yeah. Anyway. I think all else being equal, a guy would rather a smart female than a dumb female. But females think that being smart is the same thing as being an obnoxious bitch. And it's not. That's the thing with normies and whores and shit, is that they think they can fraud their way into something. But I think guys, especially guys like me, we do like smart women. It's just that you ain't one of them. That's all. You're just not one of them. That's kind of a cope. Not a lot of dumb women will say, "Oh, you just don't like smart, strong women." That's not you. You're not that. You know, Candace Owens. Candace Owens. You can't say Candace Owens isn't smart. Ignorant, maybe a little bit, but she's obviously smart. She's sharp. You know, but a smart woman, more so than any woman, knows when to shut the fuck up. And they're generally very polite people as well, I find. A dumb woman is going to talk your ear off to the point that you just want to put a bullet in your head. Or in her head. Maybe both, I don't know. So, yeah. It's crazy, man. I was just looking at this thing. Apparently some incel was asking a psychiatrist, female psychiatrist, like talking to her about, how he can't get laid and all that stuff. And she, and he's like 28 years old and he's a virgin and all that stuff. And she's like, "Oh my God, you've been trying for 28 years and you've still failed." It's like they can't fathom how terrible the life of the average guy actually is. They just think that it blows their mind. It's kind of like my psychiatrist. She did the same thing. She's in her 70s. And she's like, "Oh, you should just sit in the park with a magazine." I'm like, "What?" Sit in the park reading a magazine. This is what she thinks is gonna like, and just wait for somebody to approach you and talk to you. I'm like, what? What kind of reality are you living in? This is how delusional people can be, man. Like, huh? They will literally shoot you in the foot. They'll try to convince you to shoot yourself in the foot. I'm just like, what the hell, man? It doesn't make any fucking sense. But yeah, it's crazy. It's fucking crazy, man. Yeah. Fucking Nigerians. Asians are the wealthiest demographic in the country, if I'm not mistaken. But that's a conversation black people don't want to have. Because 2 plus 2 is 5 to black people. It's like the answers are right there, staring niggas in the face. It's like, yeah, 2 plus 2 is 4. And they're like, nah, that shit ain't 4, nigga. I want it to be 5. I like 5. I like 5. I prefer 5. It's like, this is a sick people. I'm telling you, this is a sick fucking people. I hate being a part of this group of people, man. They are sick. They are sick to the bone. You know, this is a disgraceful race of people that deserves to fail. They want the easy fucking answer that doesn't require actually doing anything different. They want to do the same shit over and over again, expecting different results. I'm convinced that there is some sick part of black people that, just like females, they enjoy dysfunction. That is how hijacked the psyche of the average black person is. I'm telling you. all the so-called pro-blacks never want to talk about why black men are apparently the leaders of being stepfathers, raising kids that aren't even theirs, and just how dysfunctional that is for a community. It's not a coincidence that the most failing community is the community which has the most cuckolds. And I mean in the literal sense of raising another man's kid. It's not a fucking coincidence. Uganda, like I said, is in a fucking... Apparently, that country's falling apart just because there's so many dudes raising kids that aren't theirs. And they all just decided to get paternity tests all of a sudden. It's just sick, man. Kevin Samuels, rest in peace to him. Jesus. He was one of the few, man. Probably the only one, really, that I saw really talk about this stuff. Consistently and unapologetically. So, yeah, it's fucking crazy, man. I'm drunk as fuck, too. I've been drunk pretty much this whole video. It's alright. Fuck it, we ball, as the kids say. Fuck it, we ball. You know, he's coming up with some gay ass saying. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of these dudes, too, they only have smoke for when black men do things or don't do things. Or they have relatively little smoke for when women do fucked up shit, which is common. Can't say that it's not. Yeah, man. So, and that's one thing I just can't respect. Because socially, black men have got to be the easiest fucking target to pick on. The same pussies who fixate on us. And yes, this includes a lot of black men jockeying for a position in the black anarchy. They never have this kind of smoke for people who actually have them under their boot, like the Jews. They never do. And half the time, it's shit we didn't even do and we aren't even responsible for. As I said, the most falsely accused, the most falsely born witness upon, even by our own so-called people. You know, there's not much. They're not much better than the so-called white supremacists that they hate so much. You know, but yeah. A lack of breastfeeding contributes to autism. Oh, yeah, I just read that recently. No surprise. I just keep unraveling more shit that validates. Oh shit, that's why I'm autistic. Because I wasn't breastfed at all. I'm pretty sure I've talked about that before. But yeah, apparently some Japanese researchers discovered that a lack of breastfeeding contributes to autism. And I was always told that I didn't breastfeed because I just didn't like it. But, I mean, I don't know. I was a fucking baby at the time. So, anyway. I was going to talk about the black dude who gave me extra hot sauce at the food place. But it's like the last 10 times I went to that place, it wasn't a black guy. And when I asked for hot sauce, extra hot sauce, they always give me some bullshit amount. Like they give me what they think white people would consider to be extra hot sauce. But for somehow I knew as soon as I saw the black dude, he was actually gonna give me extra hot sauce. You know, race matters, guys. Race matters. It's like I knew the black guy was actually gonna give me the amount of hot sauce I actually wanted. How did I know that? Because he's black. Because he's black. You know when a black man asks for extra hot sauce, he doesn't want, you know what I mean? He doesn't want he doesn't want you to give him a little pea of hot sauce, or like a little 2 centimeter line. You know, he actually gave me the exact amount that I wanted. Isn't that interesting? On the first try. Anyway, I just thought that was funny. Yeah. Oh yeah, I was gonna talk about this couple that went viral on not Tinder, on X, formerly known as Twitter. It's like this black dude that got married to this blonde white girl, and all the black femcels and racists are mad. It's just the most funny thing, you know. But it's funny because all the research shows that black guys don't give a fuck when other guys get black women and all this shit. There's actually an interesting article from Psychology Today that I read. Damn, I wish I could remember, but basically the guy was like, yeah, Asian guys don't like seeing Asian women with white guys, and black women don't like seeing black men with white girls, because it's considered like mate. It's like mate guarding, you know. But meanwhile, black guys don't give a fuck. It's only when it's seen as like somebody stealing from your pool of mates, of available mates, that you. It was something like that. Like that was kind of the argument that they were making. But yeah. So yeah, I was gonna write an article about 5 fingers of what the 5 fingers that makes a fist, and like what it takes for a community to actually elevate. And one of them is economic. So economic, and I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm pretty much gonna wrap this up here. Economic, culture, spirituality, politics, and household. Household is like the foundation. Obviously, the black household is fucked. We don't need to talk about that. Most of the kids are raised by single moms. 2 out of 3 kids. Most households are run by women. It's like, come on. Which leads into politics. The 90% Democrat. You know, Democrats being the feminine party. It's all kind of connected to economics. The black dollar doesn't circulate for very long. Goldman Sachs gives black women millions of dollars to start businesses, female-owned businesses. Jan Van Zandt literally comes on TV and says that black women get paid to be out of order. Culture, we don't need to talk about culture. Sexy Red, Sukiana, etc. We know what the culture, how messed up the culture is. And I'm sorry if there's background noise. I kind of just realized that there was. But spirituality, pulpit pimps, Pastor Pork Chop, Dr. Umar, TD Jakes. You know, the new age spirituality and weird shit. You know, Beyonce church, the Beyonce church. Like, it's like, come on, the 5 fingers for the so-called black community are extremely weak. Certainly not a fist. Everybody else has a fist. That's why we're getting knocked the fuck out. So, yeah. I saw some dudes overdose recently in my neighborhood. It was one black guy and one white guy. You know, it's kind of weird. But there's a lot of drugs going around out here, man. And I missed an opportunity because there's this one woman that I met, and she said, she's like, "Good morning." You know, she's obviously homeless, obviously a drug addict. I'm like, I completely blanked, I guess, because I could have asked her. I could have been like, "Yo, I need a plug." I need a plug. You got a line on you know. But they do have a free drug clinic near me. Get some free fentanyl, supposedly, like the fentanyl patches or whatever. I talked about that, but anyway, let me. Yeah, I said I was gonna wrap this up, and yeah, I pretty much just been waffling again. But yeah, shitting out.